cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 It's black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh. 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 It's black and white. Black and white.
Hello everybody and welcome along to Simracersworld TV and welcome to round 15 of the Sunday Drivers MX-5 series. And as you can see in the background, we are at the beautiful Oulton Park circuit, the full international layout today. However, if you take a quick peek at the track map, there's no chicane, so a very, very quick rotation around this wonderful circuit. And alongside me, for the first time this season, it's Ed May. How are you doing, mate?
Oh, thank you very much, Jack. Yes, I'm really looking forward to this. MX-5's really my bread and butter in terms of commentating, and I'm really been looking forward to being a part of this Sunday Drivers MX-5 series. I've been having a little bit of time lurking in some of the broadcasts, and of course, you and Chaz Draycott do such a great job, but now I'm going to be able to fill in for Chaz because he's out on track, and this is being the final round. It's a bit of a celebration, I think, of what the Sunday Drivers series has had to offer us, and it's been a championship of thrills and spills. And now, as we see Chaz Draycott in the Zansho Simsport car, he's going to have to get his work out. He's doing very well, up in 4th place already in this practice session.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. I've been speaking to him throughout the day. Obviously, earlier on today, if you didn't know, and all of yesterday as well, we were commentating on the Next Level Racing 24 Hours of COTA. So me and Ed fresh from the commentary booth there, and we're straight back into it tonight for Sunday Drivers, and Chaz doing the graveyard stint, not commentating. However, he did do a great job on the cameras, and he's doing an even better job behind the wheel. Been putting in lots of practice throughout the day. He's got the pace to be quick, unless he gets a bit of outside assistance. Very sideways through Lodge Corner there for the number 10 Sancho Simsport machine, and that is a very, very, very nice livery. I know Chaz made it himself, and he's a sucker for spec maps, and he's definitely showing it off, and he's also showing off his pit entry.
Well, yeah, maybe not the way is most safe to take it. That would definitely be netting you, and he's not going under the limiter at all. He's having a bit of fun. He's parked himself nicely in the pit box, though, as Chaz. A bit unconventional. Thankfully, he doesn't have to do that in a real-life MX-5, or he'd be getting a healthy sort of repair bill going his way. But we can see Simulation Racing League's driver, Michael Ellett, just set a new fastest time. But look at the margins there, Jack. Only 6,000ths of a second to himself and Roberto Garcia in the Flying Paellas race. Not Paellas, I keep saying Paellas. Paellas race in the 53 car.
Yeah, very close stuff, as is expected in the Sunday Drivers League. They're always separated by thousands. You very rarely see two cars separated by a tenth in practice or qualifying. That's a Powerhole Racing machine spitting across the ready for Geet. That pointing the right way. It will definitely be a challenge, and I think he might have got that collected up. Let's have a quick look to find out who that was. I'm just looking through. Was
Sebastian Hayne?
Yeah, it looked like.
It looked like the number 6.
Yeah, I'm trying to find him on the timing tower, on the timing screen. I just can't seem to find him. Remember to give me a bit of help here, but I just can't find him. There he is.
I think he's in 12th place. There he is. Oh no, 13th place. So you can see him. He's just a second off of the fastest time, but it shows sort of how close it is. That even being a second off has put you all the way down. 13th place. Sebastian Hayne, though, needs to make sure he's got better control of his car than he just displayed going over Clay Hill there. As we come now into Shell Oil Colin, and someone's blown their engine, shifted down through the gears too rapidly. Is that one of the H2O esports racing cars, Hasser? Not Hasser. We used to having Hasser in the booth with me. Sorry, Jack.
I'm trying to figure out who that was. It might have been Alvaro Rodriguez. It was indeed. So the H20 esports driver, the series sponsor, they have not quite, I think, figured out their finances, because they're now going to have to fork out for another Mazda MX-5 engine. So Alvaro Rodriguez not having the best time of it in towards the Shell Oil's hairpin. However, this is Roberto Garcia, set a personal fastest Sector 1, and then a purple in Sector 2. Not so quick through Sectors 3 and 4. Only 5 and 6 left. I think he's very quickly approaching the final sector now, in towards Lodge. Just a very quick left-hand kink of Ellett now. Down the hill once again, up through the gears. What can he do? Charging towards the line. With this being practice session, none of these times really matter. It's just interesting to see. We can get a bit of a reference point for the race. Crosses the line now, goes to the top of the times. A 10th clear. 1 minute 44.891. A very good time from himself.
Yeah, he's having the right charges in. As he mentioned, it's just a practice session. The times aren't going to be fully representative, but you always want to be doing the best in practice. You want to be making sure that you've got your quali set dialed in, as I think we are getting into the last, 5 minutes in this practice session. Yeah, you can see it on our screens, 4 and a bit minutes remaining. So I think they're getting the qualifying setups bolted on. We're seeing the time starting to come down as they're really making charge. And having a look at the track temp, it is a 27-degree circuit, so it's not the hottest we've seen in iRacing, but it's certainly not the coolest. Usually, when I've been commentating, I see in the track temps usually around about the 18-degree marker. So, especially in these MX-5s, I've noticed that they do tend to have a tendency to oversteer. You want to really throw the car into the corner, get the rear sliding out, treat it almost a bit like a kart, use the momentum and carry it through the corners. But when the track temp is hotter, you don't have the grip. As we see your driver struggling for grip, that's Sander Ware there in the H20 Esports racing car, 10th overall, but not really anything that's going to be improving if he keeps doing that sort of off-track moments, as we see I think the 47 car go past and then go off the circuit there.
Yeah, lots of little mistakes slowly starting to creep in. All the cars pushing for time, assaulting the track limits, and they're all looking for the extra couple of tenths, which seem to be so vital here in the MX-5s. And of course, this being the season finale, this is the final time that drivers can earn points. Speaking of points, we'll have a quick look at them now. Luis Correa won the championship last time out at Texas, 257 points. As it stands, the Venezuelan, so no matter what he does now, he is the champion. So a good race from him last time out. However, second place is still up for grabs. Andy Lovesey and Kalle Kavisto both turning up tonight, I think, if I have a quick look over to the left. I know Kalle Kavisto's here. I'll just have a quick look at... I can't see Andy Lovesey. No, I was expecting him to rock up this evening, but maybe not. So if Kalle Kavisto can get a good race under his belt, that will put him ahead of his teammates, and then from there it's pretty much an SRL affair. Andy Lovesey for Simulation Racing Leagues, Kalle Kavisto much of the same, and then Michael Ellett on 151 points in 4th for Simulation Racing Leagues. Then it's Sander Ware in 5th on 138 points, Dan Mould in 6th on 115, Bram Class in 7th with 111, Martin Pereiro only 2 points behind on 109, Ben Hicks very close as well in 9th. Rene Ware rounds out your top 10 on 93 points, and you can see the rest of the positions up on screen. A couple of drivers tying for points, Peter Reed and Timo Paya, both tied on 42 points for 22nd place, and then Alvaro Rodriguez and Amanullah Bacchus both tied on 25 points for 28th in the table. So albeit the championship itself, the championship win isn't up for grabs, there are lots of positions throughout the order that are still undecided.
Yeah, Timo Paya is here this evening, and we can see him in 16th place. The lovely, nice spec map livery and the Finnish flag. He's representing his country and going to be seeing if he can do them proud. And as you mentioned, his countryman Kalle Kavisto in the Simulation Racing League's car, sitting in 7th place overall. If he does, as you mentioned, get that good result that he's going to be aiming for, hopefully his teammates might be able to help him out in this. He could be sitting in 2nd place, and with his main championship rival not making an appearance, it's up to him now. It's in his hands. He's not got anyone else to blame, shall we say. So maybe that's going to put a bit more pressure on him coming into this final round of the championship. Robert van den Heuvel there in the Team Heuvel marketing car, just out in practice, not set a time yet, so we're going to see exactly what benchmark he's able to do, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get around before practice ends, because you can see we've only got about 40 minutes remaining here.
Yeah, not long left at all. There is the beautiful Sancho livery. Really am a fan of that. Seen it on multiple cars. Chaz only recently joining Sancho. I say recently, it was probably about 6 months ago, but yeah, Chaz is fairly new to the team, and they've definitely got a good caliber of drivers. Yesterday on the sim grid on Assetto Corsa Competizione, they were racing at Kyalami, and just to name a couple of the drivers, they had Michael O'Brien and James Baldwin. And if those names don't ring a bell, James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, he won season 2 of the world's fastest gamer, races in British GT for Rocket RJN, alongside Michael O'Brien, who was also in the car. So you've got 2 McLaren drivers, 2 British GT drivers racing for that team. So Chaz has got a lot to hold up here this evening. As we just tick over to the qualifying session, we've got a car leaving the pit lane. That's for Roberto Garcia. That is, well, when I say we have a car leaving the pit lane, that's a bit of an understatement.
We have an entire field of MX-5s leading leaving the pit lane there. I don't know what you call them, a gaggle, a pack, a murder of MX-5s, a herd of MX-5s. Yes, they are. They're a little bit bloaty, shall we say. They have a bit of a tendency to sort of understeer, but then the understeer tends into oversteer when the rear starts to kick out mid-corner. And they are a bit like, as I like to refer to on my broadcast, they're a bit like bricks with engines. They don't have any downforce. They haven't got any tricks of the trade ever. They're just out and out race machines with no frilly bits, and it provides brilliant racing and close margins, hopefully, in this qualifying session. And that's something to think about as well. All the cars going out on track at the same moment, they're going to try and find a nice slipstream to hook up to, because we do know that these MX-5s rely heavily on getting a slipstream for a quick and representative time here.
Yeah, the slipstream will be so vital around Oulton Park. Normally it wouldn't be quite as important, however, with this long back straight coming out of the Shell Oil Terpin, you've just got a slight right kink here before what would be the Britain's chicane, but no, you keep your foot flat, and then it's up a bit of a crest and then back down the hill, descending towards Knickerbrook. So the draft will come in very handy here, and it just shows that normally you struggle to go too wide around here. If you've watched British GTU racing, if you've watched British touring car racing come to Oulton Park, you think 2 wide is brave stuff. But in these Masters, you could probably get away with 3 wide. It just shows how small these little Masters are. And I say you could probably, I can guarantee you tonight that we will see a few drivers go, oh, well, there's a bit of a gap there, and there you go, 3 wide. We might even see them try 4 wide. I would not put it past these lot.
Yeah, well, from what I can remember, there was some 3 wide moments when I was covering the BSR MX-5 series here at Oulton Park, and if you want to think of a corner that you don't want to be going 3 wide in, it's going to be through Island Bend, isn't it? But they managed to do it then, so hopefully these drivers might learn a little bit from that and maybe think better of doing so. But, well, MX-5, as soon as I think any driver gets behind the wheel of an MX-5, it totally changes the mindset, doesn't it? You start to go in full attack mode, you don't hold any punches, you really go and attack it, as we see Peter van der Noord attacking the circuit, and now Sven Dailmans, who's the only driver to have set a time at the moment. It's not going to be a time that's going to be standing at the top for very long, though, because he did obviously come through the pit lane across the timing line there, so he can improve, and I'm certain that all the other drivers out on circuit will be improving now that they're starting their first flying laps here.
Yeah, the times will very quickly start to rack up onto the timing tower, and just to put an extra bit of pressure on, and maybe to extend my commentator's curse onto a fellow commentator, we're going to quickly ride on board with Chaz Draycott just to see what he's got to deal with. You can see the dashboard down in the bottom right showing you all the information you need. The gear is in, and his speed over the crest and now down towards Knickerbrook. And these Mazdas, they almost sound rotary. They rev so high. In practice sessions, Chaz got all 4 wheels off the ground here. What does he do this time? By just the 2, keeps it nice and clean through there. Possibly just because it's his first time lap, he wants to get a banker lap on the board. I might have to go over onto his Twitch stream and say next time by, get 4 wheels off the ground. I'll have to do that in a few moments' time. There are the times starting to come in. Ben Hicks lapping 1 full second quicker than Peter van der Noord on the lap prior will just come out of Chaz Draycott's car. I'm sure the ballast doesn't help with me and Ed just bearing down on him.
Piggyback in.
Yeah, so in the passenger seat, down the hill, over the quick left of Deer Leap, towards the line. What can Chaz Draycott do on the first lap? Crosses the line now, and it places him 3rd position, 3/10 off the provisional pole time, a 1:45.493. Guarantee you'll get quicker than that because he's Chaz.
Yeah, well, when we were sitting in the back seat, I did think of it, maybe doing a bit of backseat driving, maybe trying to comment where he could improve. It seemed that potentially through Druids, he took a little bit too much of the first curb there, which might have impeded his lap time a little bit, but I'm certain that he knows as well where he can improve. He has all of the deltas, all the relatives up on his screen in the sim, so he knows that he can certainly improve, and we do as well. As we see Ben Hicks, he is provisionally on pole, but it's not been the fastest time we've seen all evening. They're having quicker times in practice, but as it stands, the fast cars go bang. Is a fast car, and let's hope he doesn't go bang. Let's hope he manages to keep it out of the wall, and we're following him now through Druids, avoiding that first curb because it can unsettle the car. Going a lot of speed, doesn't quite wash out using all of the circuit available to him, so there's still a little bit more time to be gained for Ben Hicks. Was the Chaz Draycott? I think he might have just got a little bit of slipstream off of, I think that was that Victor Oliveira that he just passed. I think that was the 47. Yeah. Just getting a nice handy slipstream. That's going to be doing him the absolute world of good now as we follow him through Druids corner here. Exiting, getting a nice washout, using all of the circuit available to him, going underneath Warwick Bridge, and then he's got just a couple more corners to negotiate here. Lodge corner, the right-hander, followed by the uphill rise over Deer Leap. This left-hander uses all of the runoff, nothing more though, because you can pick up a slowdown just by getting a little bit too overexcited on the throttle, getting too eager on the power. Chaz Draycott is going to cross the line, and he is on provisional pole. The Zansho Simspot driver, Simracersworld TV commentator extraordinaire, is currently provisionally on pole.
Yeah, great lap from himself. A 1 minute 45.027. He does have more pace in him, but I don't want to push him. Don't want to push him too hard. I want to keep an eye on him just as we approach Knickerbrook in about 20-30 seconds time, purely because I just messaged into his Twitch chat saying, "Go on, lad, get all 4 wheels off the ground." So I'm hoping he does something like that next time by. I'm hoping he's even seen the message, but around Oulton Park, there's a lot of concentration required, and through the Camwood Shell Oils hairpin. And back onto the straightaway. You're flat out from here right the way until Knickerbrook, where looking at Chaz's practice sessions, just a quick dab of the brakes, down a gear to get the engine braking kicking in, and then you just chuck it in towards the apex and hope it sticks. Let's see what Chaz does this time. I'm hoping he's seen my message and gets all 4 off the ground, turns it in now, nothing of the sort. She tried
all 4 off the grass.
Yeah, all 4 off the track, yeah. And back on, rejoins and continues on. The time just slowly starting to come in once again. Michael Ellett improves his time, currently in 5th position with a 1 minute 45.46. And the times, I think, marginally now, going off what we've seen throughout the season, everybody gets their 1 lap in, which is their bank lap. They then get a quicker lap in, and for some reason, whether it's just track development or the car falls away from them, you only see the occasional improvement from them.
That is intriguing. It might also be potentially drivers getting caught up in traffic because the field starts to spread out. You might encounter some slower drivers. If you're all out at the same time, you're not going to be encountering any slower drivers. You're going to be kind of in your own little pack. So that could be something, but we have seen an improvement. And what an improvement it is. Roberto Garcia, the Flying Paella Racing, is now half a second clear of Chaz Draycott in 2nd. That is an absolutely monstrous lap time from the Spanish driver, and he's absolutely staking his claim on this race. He knows that he has the pace in his car. He's been fastest in practice session and is currently fastest in qualifying, but we do know that we can't count the chickens before they hatch. Still, Roberto Garcia in the driver's seat at the moment.
Yeah, a great lap from himself, half a second clear. I said we don't often see them separated by tenths, and well, we've now seen them separated by half a second. That is a monstrous lap from Roberto Garcia, 1 minute 44.504. Puts him provisionally on pole. Chaz Draycott has returned to the pit lane, so presumably he's comfortable with his qualifying performance. Dan Mould out on the track as well for SRL. He's been a very quick driver, not just in this series, but the Simulation Racing League's TCR league, which Dan runs. He's very quick around there, leading the championship by quite the margin as well. So he definitely knows what he's doing behind the wheel. Very deadly in an Audi RS3, but I'm not sure how much of that is compatible behind the wheel of these MX-5s. A few cars coming out on their outlap. That's Ben Hicks halfway around his outlap. Calais Cavisto about a quarter of the way around as well. So it seems like people looking for those last little gains, if they can grab them. Looking for drivers on personal best laps. Michael Ellett appears to be on a fairly quick lap. Who else have we got going about? Is Xavi Lopez for H20 Esports Racing. He's also slowly starting to set personal best times. But if you set a personal best sector going through sector 1 and sector 2, sometimes you can get quite ahead of yourself and think, oh, this delta's looking good, I'm miles ahead, and then you just go and screw it up in the final couple of sectors.
Yeah, and this is the bit of the circuit where it's hard to make the gains, and Xavi Lopez does run wide. That's going to be an off track. That means he's not going to be able to set a valid lap time in this run at the very least. So his personal best is optimum sectors that he saw earlier on. They're going to be going down the toilet, it has to be said. Unfortunately, Xavi Lopez is going to have to wait and try and do it all over again, because that one little mistake, and I think we've been seeing that time and time again. We saw Chaz Draycott make a similar mistake just going through Knickerbrook with a bit too much sauce on it, shall we say, a little bit too eager going through. It's what you need to do, obviously, to get the lap time, but not working out. And yeah, Xavi Lopez crosses the line, not a valid lap time being set, so he's going to have to try and do it all over again here, Jack.
Yeah, like you say, he was going for the faster time, and lap time invalidated, didn't set a time on the lap prior, and that wasn't his out lap, so yeah, definitely an off track somewhere around the circuit. Roberto Garcia has returned from the pit lane, going through the Shell Oils hairpin. He is on his out lap looking for another improvement. Only halfway through this qualifying session, so still plenty of time for drivers to improve. Whether Chaz is just waiting for everybody to set their time and maybe look at going back out towards the latter end of the session, possibly when the track's slightly more rubbered in, but because he's returned to the pit lane, he does have all that fuel back on board. Not that they burn massive amounts, but you can imagine that an extra kilo or two in these Mazdas, which weigh south of a ton, so very little weight to really throw about. But then when you start to add fuel back in, it can handle like a bit of a pig. Like you say, you can get understeer, which introduces itself to oversteer, and it's quite a difficult car to drive, specifically around here, with it being, well, 9 times out of 10 it looks narrow, but we've said this once and we'll probably say it again. Oulton Park is renowned for being quite a narrow circuit. However, these Mazdas, they make it look huge. Probably get, like I say, 3 wide, maybe 4 wide at some points. We might see some 4 wide action though in these boys. They tend to be rather aggressive. Roberto Garcia, however, going on to his fastest lap. I'm having a look down the order just to see who else we've got out on circuit. Arturo de Villa, pardon me, the Mexican. He had an adventurous outing at Texas a couple of weeks ago. Got caught up in a few incidents that some maybe he couldn't really help, and then others just sort of fell in front of him and he was left nowhere to go. That was quite a busy round for some of the drivers. That's probably the politest way to put it. There was a fair few incidents and quite a hefty damage bill coming out of that round into Oulton Park. We hope for nothing much. However, one of the H20 drivers, I can't remember who it was, has already got through an engine and only in practice. So yeah, I hope that doesn't relate to the race.
Hopefully not. It could also be a thing if the car takes over the bumps, maybe the radiator gets a bit of damage in, the temperatures start to rise until the engine can't take it anymore and explodes. But I was about to mention, you've picked up on it as well, Chaz Draycott is back out on circuit, and this is going to be, I think, just a full fuel load, or at least a full qualifying fuel load till the end of the session. So he's timed I think he's timed when he's coming out on track to the fuel, so he's going to have one final run at the end. I'm certain that he's just about got this right in terms of what you'd be able to do for a stint, but we're going to be following him now. And who is that in front of that? I think is one of the SRL cars up ahead of him that he's going to try and get a slipstream off of. Is that one of the SRL cars, or is that one of the could be,
I think it's a power hole one.
It could be, yes. I think you might be picked up right on the money there. That could be Sebastian Hayne, and in fact it is Sebastian Hayne, and he's currently sitting down 29th place. Not set a lap time at the moment, has the German driver for Powerhall Sim Racing Academy, but he's on one at the moment. I don't believe he's on an out lap, so this is going to be his chance to get up the order. As we see Chaz, was that Chaz? That was Chaz going through Druids. Just saw a bit of a blue flash across our screens. We're going to see exactly what happens. Does he just clip the curb? Oh yes, he just gets to go, comes back down to earth. The car's unsettled. He tries to get on the brakes to hold the slide, but no, the momentum of the car sends him off out into the wall, and he's pulled back into the pits and having to go out again. So unfortunately for Chaz, he's pushing hard on an outlap, which is not something you would often expect to do.
No, definitely pushing the limits, and especially through the Druids double right-hander. That is a very tricky corner to get right in any car, and in these Mazdas it shows that if you hit the grass or the curb. Did you hear that in the background? I think Arturo de Villa or Victor Oliveira, one of the two. I think it was probably both of them though in them two. Arturo de Villa going off the road. Does it spit him in front of anybody else? Does it ever? Was that Victor Oliveira that managed to get caught up in that? No, but Arturo de Villa into the wall. Everybody pushing the track limits by the looks of it. Roberto Garcia still out on the road trying to improve upon his lap time. Ben Hicks has closed the gap now, only 4.8 tenths up to Garcia, still just shy of half a second however. So Roberto Garcia seems to be quite a one-lap wonder. However, he's been setting lap times similar even on his last lap, which was a 1 minute 44.84. That would still be more than good enough for pole position, so he's definitely quicker than any other driver out on the road. But that 144.5 hasn't really been matched by himself as of yet. Let's see what he does. Crosses the line now. Does he improve upon his time? I think that might have actually been an invalidated lap because he doesn't. Ben Hicks, 1 minute 47.029. Who's that has just gone into the side? I think that was Roberto Garcia, possibly just not looking who was on pit
went
exit.
across and then broke in front of him almost. That was a very weird one there, Jack. Gonna see exactly what happens. So he goes across to the right and he's already on the brakes. So he stops right in front of Michael Ellett there, the South African driver, trying to go out and track, just driving no race a bit. I want to see what the onboard was like from him because it seemingly came out of nowhere. Roberto Garcia maybe taking a little bit of offence to Michael Ellett coming out on track. Doesn't want any drivers taking his crowns. He's doing all that it takes to stop them from setting a lap time to try and beat him.
Yeah, let's see what happened there. Maybe it wasn't that one. I thought it was Michael Ellett that had the incident. I can't find the off track or the incident anymore on the event viewer, so I'm not sure where that's gone.
Maybe it never happened and we're all just losing our minds.
Yeah, possibly that could be the one. Is it this one?
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
it is. Oh, well, yes, we found it. Let's have another look back aboard Michael Ellett's car.
So you see it going out on track and then look at that. That's not on, surely, Jack. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, or if it was just Roberto Garcia going off and pulling off into the pits, or if he might be having a bit of fun with Michael Ellett just parking in front of him and, as I mentioned earlier, trying to stop him from making an improvement. A driver that's not going to be making an improvement is Chaz Draycott after that off-track excursion, going through Shell Oil Corner. A little bit too eager on the throttle, is that, Chaz? You need to try and calm it down. Try and in fact, he only really needs to gain about half a tenth, and he's going to be up onto the front row of the grid. So he knows what he needs to do, but he only has just over 2 minutes to do it in.
Yeah, so running out of time in this qualifying session. Dan Mould now on the front row of the grid. Last time by a 1 minute 44.94. So he is lapping within a tenth of Roberto Garcia's consistent lap times. However, his fastest lap time still 4.3 tenths back from Roberto Garcia. So lots of time evidently out there, just people struggling to find it. Ben Hicks has been demoted down into third, and Chaz now into fourth, building up a bit of clean air in front of him, making sure he's got the time in hand before he really starts to attack the Oulton Park circuit. Through the final corner, punches the throttle and gets back going once again, crosses the line. And Ed, you probably know your way around here slightly better than I do. How about you talk us through a lap?
So I kind of think this is going to be Chaz Draycott's final attempt at making an improvement. Was that a lock-up almost? I don't think I've ever seen an MX-5 lock-up going through the first corner here at Oulton Park, then going down through the Cascades here. Left-hander, you want to try and get to the later apex as possible, which Chaz manages, getting on the throttle nice and early. Then he's got the long run down this little mini lakeside straight. Gonna have to try and cut through now on the island bend, use the camber to great effect. You can get over the curb just about nicely and not worry too much. The setup looks nice and plateaued. Then he goes into Shell Oil, hooks up the inside, manages to get into the groove of the corner, onto the throttle nice and early. Doesn't do what he did last time out and running wide off onto the grass. Then is a little time to think, to compose himself as he comes over the hilltop here on the long run through towards Knickerbrook. Normally you'd be going for the chicane here, but no, you're cutting on through the right-hander, carrying a lot of speed, which Chaz does. Look at that, it darts to the inside. He's got absolute control, and this is looking like a very quick lap time here on board with Chaz Draycott as we come over Clay Hill, then go towards into Druids Corner, shifting down into third gear, getting it nice and turned in onto the throttle. A bit late maybe for Chaz, but he's using all the road, shallowing out the steering to avoid the scrubbing of speed. Then he's only got 2 more corners to go on this lap, going through Lodge Corner onto the throttle early, keeping the momentum going as he comes across the left-hander of Leap, tries to keep a tight line. Is he? Oh yes, a nice wide line over to the timing line, but that's not an improvement for Chaz Draycott, so he's going to be staying in fourth. And while we were watching all of that, I did notice a purple lap time coming in for Roberto Garcia, just as the checkered flag was waved in this session. So he's increased his margin to nearly 0.7 of a second, which is a huge margin. And I think that's the biggest margin I think we've ever seen here in the Sunday Drivers' Championship.
It's got to be definitely up there. Well, best part of 7 tenths clear. Roberto Garcia hooked the lap up, if I can put my teeth back in, beautifully. Dan Mould charging towards the line now. This is the last chance he will get to beat the time. However, looking at his sector times, I don't think he'll be anywhere close to the required time. Crosses the line now. What does he do? Personal fastest lap was a 1:44.94. He does a 1:45.433. A couple more cars coming towards the line, Michael Ellett being one of them, also for Simulation Racing Leagues. What does he do on his way to the line? Does he improve? 1.2 adrift from the provisional pole time, and it looks like he stays where he is. Pedro Marimon has pulled over to the side of the road. Who's that charging towards the line now? That's Kale Cavista. And there you go. Crossing the line, doesn't improve upon his time. Luis Correa for H20 Esports charging towards the line as well, with Roberto Garcia in tow. Luis Correa, does he improve upon his time? Doesn't look like he does either. Remains in 10th position. And I think that is going to bring an end to this qualifying session.
Yeah, that is. I mean, have a look in the YouTube chat, and we can see some drivers there cheering on the Flying Paya's driver of Roberto Garcia. And earlier we saw the message going in, oh my god, the time of Roberto Garcia, but since then he's gone an even faster lap time in. So yes, as you were mentioning there, Jack, that was an absolute stonking lap time. We've only got a few more drivers out on track. Martin Penerejo in the other Flying Paya's machine over in 13th place, and then Chaz Draycott as well out on circuit, not able to set any quicker lap times because the checkered flag was waved, and this is actually a bit of practice, I think, for Chaz. Coming into the pits, is he going to try the spectacular one we saw earlier? No, he's not going to get a chance to, because the session has been advanced and we're going to get ready for race time here, and we have the grid on our screens, and I will run us through it very quickly. So we have Roberto Garcia. Flying Paya's machine has been put on pole with an absolutely storming lap time of 1:44.2. Dan Mould alongside him, 7 tenths behind in the Simulations Racing Leagues, and then the second row sees Ben Hicks and Simracersworld TV's very own Chaz Draycott in 4th. Then 5th down to 10th, we see Kale Kivisto, Anula Bacchus, Michael Ellett, Sander Ware, Javi Lopez, and Luis Correa rounding out the top 10, with Scott Angelo and Bram Kleis in 11th and 12th. Sebastian Hayne, Martin Panerejo, Pedro Marimon, Matti Tempest, Peter Van der... It's not showing the full name on the thing, but I will have a look through and see that's Peter Van der Noord, with René Ware alongside him. Then it's David Geddes, Timo Paya, Alvaro Rodriguez, Victor Oliveira, Henrico Puttenstein, and Sven Delmans in 24th. Then, last but not least, we've got a few more drivers: Rob Jackson, Robert Van den Heuvel, Arturo Davila, Mackenzie Mann, Jean-Louis Moguet, and Jordan Tsatsanov at the back. So, Jack, we are ready here for the final race in this Sunday Drivers MX-5 series. 15 rounds have absolutely flown by, haven't they? And this is going to be an evening to, I think, remember here, because this Oulton Park circuit always puts up memorable racing.
It does indeed. We are just sat waiting for our pole sitter to take to the grid. You can see the heat haze in the background, so evidently conditions getting hotter the later we go in, and we are gridding. However, I can't see our leader. There he is. He was hidden behind everybody else. So 3, 4, 5 lights here at Oulton Park. And round 15 of the Sunday Drivers MX-5 series is away. Roberto Garcia gets a decent start from the front row. Dan Mould from the outside, already under pressure from Ben Hicks. Chaz Draycott really starting to drop down the order already, presumably trying to keep it safe around the outside of Amanullah Bacchus. That's our leader, yeah, like you say, in the middle of the road, bringing Kale Cavista with him towards the barrier. So that now means Dan Mould in the lead, Ben Hicks there in second, Chaz Draycott up into third, Amanullah Bacchus dropping down the order as well, with that incident stuck off to the side of the road. Then finally 4th position, Sander Ware, Michael Ellett, Bram Class, Xavi Lopez, Scotty Angelo, Seb Hayne, Pedro Marimon. And I think that might, well, for the moment, be the last of the incidents. It looks like we've already started to get a pack to form. Martin Penerejo in 12th position. He's got quite the gap back to Victor Oliveira, Peter Van der Noord, Timo Paya, Luis Correa, Henrico Puttenstein. Further back, Jordan Svetanov. He is losing out as well. And look who is now in front of him, Roberto Garcia. We've got to have a look back at that incident.
Yeah, it's basically disappointing. He seemed to get away so well, but did he just have a moment by himself, or did he have a bit of contact? You can see him. He has a bit of a snap on to the right, and then recovering the car, it snaps left on him. We're going to see him go through turn 1, and it is just attack of the cold tyres. These MX-5s, they do have what is coined as the new time model at the time model in iRacing, where they are stone cold out of the box. And unfortunately, Roberto Garcia seemingly caught out by that, going through the first corner, the rear of the car. It looked like a very slow, inevitable slide that he was trying to recover, but to no avail. And unfortunately, it was as well one of the other cars. I think it was Calacavisto. So that's a bit big as well for the championship, because that's his chances for second place potentially going up in smoke.
Yeah, not what we like to see. Dan Mould with the fastest lap of the race, a 151.222 up at the front of the order. However, his stable mate at Simulation Racing Leagues is indeed. He's up in second place. Michael Ellett really close to the tail end of Sander Ware. There is Chaz Draycott in second place. He's just taken Ben Hicks. Let's see whether we can get a replay of that overtake at some point. He passed him once, and then looks like he had to pass him again. So on the run up towards turn 1, Chaz, I think, might have got a bit of an overlap on the brakes there, and then carried the momentum around the outside. A bit of contact, a bit of door-to-door contact, nothing major. Might have picked up a 1X on the exit, however, but Chaz Draycott up into second place. In the background, Scotty Angelo really piling the pressure on the second of the Wares. That's René Ware for H20 Esports, the number 43 Australian. We've got cars dropping down the order. What has happened to Victor Oliveira? That's a very poorly looking Master MX-5.
Yeah, the front bumper's hanging off by a couple of bolts by the looks of things. We're seeing him. He's already losing it. He's already losing it. Don't collide. Oh, a sickening impact there for the 47 car going into the number 3. That is Xavi Lopez, the H20 Esports car. Unfortunately, an innocent bystander really in all of that. There's nothing he can do. He is actually able to see Victor Oliveira coming through like a freight train into his right-hand side, and thankfully this is just virtual, because otherwise that would be a horrible impact to be watching in person. As we see, I think we can actually follow. Yes, this is Xavi Lopez now trying to recover. In fact, because it was an impact on the side, his car seemingly is just about all right. Just about, I say, because obviously you don't want to be getting massive collisions on your side, but he does have to worry a little bit about Rob Jackson and the man fighting up through the field now. Put it on pole, but had such a torrid time of things going through the first corner. Roberto Garcia getting his sights set now on these two drivers ahead. He's going on the offensive. You can see immediately the number 36 going on the defensive. Rob Jackson on all. There's been contact between again. That's Xavi Lopez in the wars. Unfortunate incidents plaguing the Spanish driver for the H20 Esports team, and he's down now 27th place. This is an evening to forget, almost certainly, for Xavi, through no fault of his own, it has to be said, Jack.
Yeah, he really has had poor luck here this evening. We've got fights going on up and down the order, yet more contact. That's a Simtech car and a H20 car. Once again, that's René Ware, and I think that was Scotty Angelo. Both of them separated by Pedro Marimon now. He's slid his way in between them. Martin Pereira trying to get in on the mix, bringing Luis Correa with him. Obviously, he is the champion, so he doesn't really need to do too much. That's one of the cleanest MX-5s we've got on the grid. Barely any damage to that car. Changes the position further up. Scotty Angelo up the inside of Pedro Marimon, who I think has been elbowed out wide. Who's that in the middle of the road? That's Luis Correa. No, it isn't. I think that might be René Ware that's gone for a bit of a moment. It is indeed. Where is Pedro Marimon? He's carried on going. It's all very nip and tuck here, isn't it? Lots of almost touring car battles. Who's that in the wall?
That's Sebastian Hayne. Oh no, he's trying to recover it and it's not going well, is it? He's spinning left and right. Get it, point in the right direction, Sebastian, please. Oh, he's still struggling. He's really not having a good time of things. Does he have contact? Is the suspension sort of out of whack, or is he just trying to recover the car? Following the onboard, he's trying to get it point the right way, trying in vain. Look at him, left, right, weaving around, snaking around. Is he going to get it pointing? He thinks he does it. He gets on the throttle, and again, here's another moment. Does he collect it eventually? No, please don't spin it. I think he's caught it. No, he hasn't. He's still going. There we go. He's got it now. I think.
Has he?
Fingers crossed. Has he? He's done it. Hey.
So from lock to lock, Seb Hayne finally gets back going again. Now right the way down in 23rd position. How's this happened?
Oh, God.
Oh no.
What? Oh no, Chaz leading a race. Everyone sound the alarm. I don't know how it happened, but it has. We're going to see exactly how it happens. Down through Cascades, getting the old switcheroo. He tried around the outside, then looked to the inside. I don't want to say it, but it was a good move from Chaz Draycott to get into the leader race.
Don't tell him that. That was a really good move. We're not allowed to tell him, though. However, how long this lasts, I don't know. Dan Mould now trying to fight back on the way up towards Nicker Brook. Later on the brakes is Chaz. Very confident through there. 2 wheels in the air, and Chaz Draycott punching the hole in the air for everybody behind. Dan Mould, Ben Hicks both together. Both of those two have got experience racing in the TCR series I mentioned earlier on. Chaz Draycott going for the defensive line through Druids. Does that compromise his exit on the run up towards Lodge Corner? Doesn't look like it's done too much. You can see the cars washing over the crest. Very skinny tyres on these Mazdas, so you can see how the tyres will start to degrade fairly early on. Jean-Louis Maugeot has had a bit of an incident, but I don't want to look away from this lead battle. The Sancho Simsport car leading the way from Dan Mould. Then it's Ben Hicks. Sander Ware 4 seconds adrift of our leaders, 3.3 seconds adrift from Ben Hicks up the road. Closest cars are in the background. That's a car sideways in the road. I think that might be Timo Paya.
Oh, Timo Paya now. It's a bad evening for the Finnish drivers. First we saw Kalle Kivista in the wars, and now Timo Paya is seemingly trying to get the car going, but not quite getting it pointing in the right direction, and has just collided with the wall. Although now we're following Alvaro Rodriguez, having to go defensive from Rob Jackson. The number 36 Simtech Racing car is going to get the cutback. He's going to be on the outside for Cascades, but I don't think that's going to matter because he's already got the move done and dusted. Just carried so much more speed coming out of the corner and got that move absolutely wrapped up nice and neatly with a little pretty bow. But where is Rene going? He's leaving the track, and Rene Ware seemingly recovers the car now, and just through Cascades, a dip of the rear wheel there onto the gravel. Was that speeding on by? That was a bit of a scary moment for Erdogan Tetsanov, Svetsanov. I have pronounced that right. I almost certainly haven't, but I believe the Hungarian driver, I believe that's Hungary as well. Maybe I'm just really bad at geography and names, but one thing I'm not bad at is talking about racing, and we're seeing here Chaz Draycott going side by side with Dan Mould going through Nickelbrook. He's gonna make it stick, but on the inside you saw him going too wide. Exciting moment, but Chaz Draycott has managed to recover and keep holding into the leader race, but for how long? Because Dan Mould on the offensive still as he goes now through Lodge Corner. They're going to swap and change over across the line, and I think he's going to be under pressure going into turn 1.
Well, you say that. He managed to fend off the advances of Dan Mould, and that's pushed Dan back into the clutches of Ben Hicks, and he's made the most of it. Ben now up into 2nd place. Dan Mould dropped back into 3rd. Michael Ellett still sparring away with Sander. Sander Ware on the inside, Michael Ellett on the outside. They tried to swap positions. Michael Ellett looking for the cutback, carries the better momentum through turn 1. Now on the way towards Cascades. What can he do here? And they pretty much stay single file. There was a bit of a look there from Michael Ellett. Both cars taking varying lines. However, they both led to the same thing. Dan Mould, Ben Hicks swapping positions once again through the quick left-hander before Charles hairpin. And boys, you need to stop doing that. Go get after Chaz. Like what Ronald Moon says in the chat, this could be a movie title, Chasing Chaz. I think Dan needs to really start doing that, because Chaz, oh no, 1.5 seconds in the lead. Is he feeling all right?
Oh no, we don't want to be seeing this. He's going to be taking a victory, and it could be in commanding if he's able to break the toe. It is around about 1.5 seconds, 1.8 seconds where you really start to feel the effects of the slipstream in these MX-5s. But I think for the moment it's starting to come down a little bit more now as Dan Mould is closing in slow but surely. We're seeing a replay though of Jean-Louis Maugeot here, and he's just parking it on the exit of Druids and thinking, right, that's enough for me, I'm going to be going home. And he's leaving the rest of the racing on track to the likes of Michael Ellett going side by side with Sander Ware. Sander Ware is in the wall. All calamities for the H20 esports driver going through Druids. They just were fighting for the same piece of track, and I think it was inevitable that sadly it ended in tears. Another side-by-side moment into Druids. This time doesn't end in tears. They managed to sort themselves out before turning in for the corner, and now we're seeing Scott Angelo, I think, getting past Bram Kleiss. Bram Kleiss seemingly a bit wide through Lodge Corner. Now needs to try and focus on getting back though, and trying to take back that position that he just seemingly lost out on.
Yeah, so drivers starting to settle down. Well, I say settle down. They're starting to find the position they want to be in throughout the race. We're seeing teammates battle as well, Scotty Angelo and Bram Klaas, both of them for Simtech Racing. I'll get the team names up on the left-hand side so you can see where the teams are. Rene Ware dropping down through the order. It looks like he has decided to bring his car into retirement. 19th and 20th, both H20E sport cars. 8th and 9th, both Flying Paella racing machines. And then 6th and 7th is Simtech Racing. And if you look at the top 4, there are 2 SRL cars occupying there. So definitely lots of little inter-team rivalries here. And this battle in the background, well, it was hotting up, but it's starting to cool down now, and nobody likes a cool paella. However, we're going to have to deal with one. Martin Penereiro really dropping down the order after that little mistake. Let's see what happened there.
Yeah, it's just through shallows. As they're at contact, you can see the number 20 car. That's Pedro Marimon. They're teammates, and they did have a bit of a collision together. Martin Penereiro seemingly losing the rear of the car, seemingly collects it, and then just a slight kiss on the rear bumper from Pedro Marimon, the Flying Paella's teammate of Martin Penereiro, having a bit of contact. And now Martin needs to worry about having Matt Tempest, I think. Oh no, this is Martin Penereiro trying to fight with Sander Ware. Where is Sander? Here he is, and he's having to fight off for 10th place.
Yeah, so drivers really starting to battle away. This is Jordan Svetanov and Peter van der Noord, 29 in the number 29 machine. Both of them privateers. So this is a little battle for the virtual privateer trophy. Of course, there are no standings for that. It's just pretty much best of the rest at this point. The highest placed privateer, I think, might be Peter van der Noord. It is indeed in 13th place, and the lead gap has come down 0.3 of a second. So I think Dan Mould has got the stream running in the background because he's listened to me. Now closing down on 1/4 of a second. Roberto Garcia also closing up on his teammate once again on the run up towards the left king. Before we get to Shell Oils, what can Roberto do? Does he just tuck underneath the rear bumper, sit in the draft for the moment? Roberto Garcia obviously pole sitter and race leader for a corner, and then it all went wrong for him. Back up to 9th position though. A good little recovery drive. It has been helped by the strife within other drivers' races. However, Roberto Garcia, nonetheless, he's still had to negotiate a fair bit of traffic, and he's looking to negotiate Pedro Marimon now as the lead is on its way to a change. That was very close. Dan Mould looking to the outside, now looking to the inside on the cutback up the hill, and for the moment, I was going to say he's going to stay as it is. However, there was a bit of an overlap. Chaz Draycott elbowed out wide, left Dan Mould very little room on the apex in towards Druids. They still remain as they are, Ed, but Chaz Draycott really starting to feel the pressure of Dan Mould behind.
Yeah, we have 16 minutes to go in this 30-minute race, almost at the halfway point, and Chaz Draycott, I don't know if he's going to be able to withstand this pressure. Dan Mould seemingly has been able to drop Ben Hicks back, who seemingly has been having a bit of troubles of his own. He's dropped back by 2 seconds as the fast cars go bang, seemingly struggling, but Chaz Draycott needs to really use all of the XP, try and get on the throttle as early as possible and carry the momentum to keep ahead of Dan Mould, who is looking like the driver in form, looking like the quickest man on track. So Chaz is going to have to use everything possible too, and this is a good fight we like to see. We want to see cars fighting at the lead of the race at the sharp end, and we are being treated to a brilliant race here for the final round of the Sunday drivers. And I was hoping that Oulton Park was going to deliver, and it certainly has so far.
Definitely has lots of close racing up and down the order, with its fair share of incidents, as is accustomed to the Sunday Drivers' Cup. And I'm just looking back now, the cars in the background slowly starting to get closer. However, this is the time we see every single lap Dan Mould gets the better run of the two, looking to the outside now over the crest down towards Knickerbrook. Yes, it looks like he is definitely getting much more overspeed than Chaz. Chaz does have the inside line. He brakes so much later, chucks it in sideways, 2 wheels in the air. Does he run wide? He does lose all of his momentum up the hill. Dan Mould now looking to the inside. Chaz Weiss to the move. A bit of a touch there, trying to force him out wide. Proper touring car racing here, nudging each other around the Oulton Park circuit in towards Druids, the double apex right-hander. Still Chaz Draycott in the lead. Dan Mould now has got to reassess the situation, decide where he's going to do it. He's tried it multiple times down the back straight, can't quite get it to work, so he's now got to pick his point and figure out where Chaz is more vulnerable to an overtake. Maybe a slight little push into a corner, or just Chaz falling foul of a mistake. Dan Mould up the inside through Lodge Corner. Dialipi's got the momentum around the outside. He will have the inside towards turn 1, and I think Dan Mould has secured this position for the moment. Chaz Draycott now looking for the momentum around the outside. If he can defend this, it'll be a great move, squeezing him towards the apex. Dan Mould now on the inside. Chaz will be on the outside for this little right-hander. It will become the inside for the bottom part of Cascades, and somehow Chaz Draycott is still in the lead.
I don't know if I like this. I'm not sure if I'm liking seeing Chaz Draycott doing so well, but as we see now, down the inside, Dan Mould is going to try and make a move side by side through Island Bend. This is a sketchy amount of the track, and Chaz has to yield. He should be yielding, but he's not yielding. This is great racing. He's going to now have the inside for Shell Corner. He's going to just about get it stopped in time, get the good run out of the corner. And how has Chaz been able to do that? I'm amazed that he was able to hold it around the outside of Island Bend. Great respectful driving from the pair of them, making sure that they're giving each other just enough room and nothing more. But look at how close Dan Mould is. The slipstream is working to great effect. The SRL car is now going to try and look down to the inside, but then thinks better of it. And Chaz goes uncontested on the run through up towards Druids.
Yeah, so somehow Chaz still staying in the lead. However, I don't know how long that will last. There's been a major incident in the background by the looks of it. I think Roberto Garcia and Xavi Lopez have come together. Roberto Garcia right the way down the order. Well, race over by the looks of it. So pole sitter, race leader for a corner, and he's decided to bring the car back to the pit lane. What happened to Xavi Lopez? Into his teammate. Both H20 cars spear across the road. Let's hope he gets out of the way. That's a fast cars go bang car. Simtech car goes streaming by as well. So Xavi Lopez, I think, into Henrico Puttenstein. No, I can't quite figure out who that was, but we'll have to go back live because I think the leaders have started to separate out once again. I say that. Chaz doesn't get the greatest run through turn 1. Dan Mould starting to bring the gap back down. Seb Hayne now a 10th away from Calais Cavisto, almost side by side. Powerhall car versus Simulation Racing League's car, and there's battles pretty much everywhere we look at.
Yes, Sebastian Hayne has finally got his car pointing in the right direction, going through Druids without the dramas we've seen, but he is missing a little side mirror there, so maybe that might be helping his aerodynamic performance. No extra drag from this. That could be all of the advantage he needs to catch up to Calico Vista. He's got no one behind him, so he doesn't need to be using his side mirrors, his wing mirrors whatsoever for this moment. He's running very wide though through turn 1, picking up a incident point, but I don't think you get a slowdown for that, so he's going to, for all intents and purposes in the race, keep the fight alive. Right up in front we can see Sander Ware fighting with Matt Tempest, the Simtech Racing driver, fighting for 9th position now, and he has got 2 drivers behind him. This is Bynorden Tetsanov and Pedro Marimon that will be joining the fray. In fact, there's another couple of them, so they're all starting to form together in this nice slipstream draft train. But down the inside, this is Matt Tempest on the Sander Ware, but Sander Ware around the outside, be able to brake much later, and he's confident, but there's fighting in the lead of the race. Chaz Draycott going defensive through Lodge Corner on Dan Mould, and Mould's going to get the run through Deer Leap though as they come across the left-hander, and out of the line it will be Dan Mould leading lap 12, the start of it, but Chaz Draycott's going to have the inside line for the first corner, and is he going to get it done? Yes, he is. He seems to be able to put his car exactly where he needs to stay in the lead of this race, even if his pace is seemingly falling a little bit behind. I'm not sure if it's just the slipstream or if maybe Chaz has used his tyres earlier on in the race and is paying through the nose for it now, as we're seeing Ben Hicks has caught up to this fight, so it's going to be a 3-way fight yet again for the lead of this race.
Yeah, so Ben Hicks, like you say, slowly starting to reel the lead battle in. 2 cars for the lead as it stands, possibly 3 cars in a few moments' time. Dan Mould pushing Chaz around the Shell Oils hairpin. Now back onto the back straight. Dan does get the better run of the 2. The gap coming down very marginally. However, I don't think he will have the overlap come Nicker Brook. The gap is still coming down though. He does have the draft assistance. Chaz at this point has got to decide what he's going to do. Is he going to go defensive? No, he sticks to his line, throws the car through Nicker Brook sideways on the way through, as is the way to drive the Mazda MX-5. All four wheels off the road in the grass, kicking up all the dirt behind him. Chaz Draycott still remains in the lead, but it ruins his momentum up towards Druids, forces Dan Mole to the outside. However, this could pinch Chaz to the inside, maybe slightly ruin his momentum. There's contact between the pair of them. Dan Mole gets elbowed out wide. Both of them stay on the track. Ben Hicks is now back in on the mix, so it's 3 for the lead. Ben Hicks might keep Dan Mould occupied, and Chaz might have saved himself a little bit there, albeit at the expense of his rear bumper. He might have just given Dan Mould enough of a distraction to take the pressure off himself.
Yeah, as you just mentioned, Ben Hicks is in the mix for first position, but he does have to get ahead of Dan Mould to do so. This is going to give Chaz Draycott all of the impetus he needs to try and get that gap. Let the two cars squabble for second place while he's able to get up into the lead of the race. But I think, as you mentioned, they've been listening to you on the stream. They're going to be chasing Chaz till the bitter end as we come now. Only 8 minutes to go in this race. Near enough 8 minutes. Chaz Draycott needs to hold off for that amount of time. He doesn't get the best of runs out of Cascades. There's not going to be any side-by-side moments, thankfully for my heart, thankfully for my longevity on this world, that they're not going to be going side-by-side and making me age prematurely. It's all around the outside though. That one's going to have a little bit of a look, try and see if there's any way, but you can't really send a move around the outside of that long hairpin right. So it's going to be Chaz Draycott still leading Dan Mould, but the gap is ever so close. And already we're seeing him look to the outside. Is Dan going to try and commit though, or is he going to back out like he often does? Maybe put Chaz under a bit of pressure and bank on the Zansho Simsport driver making a mistake. We're seeing the chopper cam here. Is he going to get off onto the circuit? No, he uses every bit of the road and nothing extra, not dipping out onto the grass, but his run up the hill is not that great. So he's going to have to go defensively down the inside for Drew's corner. And again, are we going to see a bit of contact between the two? Oh, Chaz just parks it on the apex. That's going to help him massively to defend. He has to cut immediately to the inside there because Dan Mould is right up there with him. Dan Mould's going to be on the outside. He might try a cutback maneuver. Is Chaz going to park it on the apex? Yes, he does. Manages to stop the run around the outside for Dan Mould, and Dan Mould actually has to back out. He doesn't get the best run out of the corner. So for the moment, Chaz lives to fight another lap, but this is ever so close in the lead of the race. And while this is all going on, Ben Hicks, I don't think he's going to throw himself in the mix. What I'm imagining is that he's going to do is sit back, watch all the drivers squabble, and then maybe fight. But actually, he's going to have to sit back and maybe defend, because that's Michael Ellett getting himself up there in the order. Going to be fighting for a podium position, as well as Luis Correa.
Yeah, Luis Correa is definitely starting to mount a charge on Michael Ellett and Ben Hicks. Once again, Dan Mould on the inside, Chaz Draycott on the outside. Neither driver willing to give any room. Normally you'd struggle to get through there by yourself, but as these Mazdas are so small, you can get too wide through there pretty comfortably as long as you've got trust with the other driver. Chaz Draycott still remaining in the lead. Dan Mould about a quarter of a second back. That gap is coming down very quickly, so this time I expect Dan Mould once again to get alongside. Chaz has got to decide which way he goes nice and early, because I know one of his little bugbears is moving over on the straight. Down the straight he goes towards Nicker Brook, stays where he is. He does have the inside line. Later on the brake, slides the car through, makes sure he doesn't run wide. However, Dan Mould gets the cutback of the century, forcing him over to the outside of the track. Both of the drivers bumping doors, bumping wing mirrors, and this might be the overtake for the lead. Chaz on the outside, a bit of a wobble there. Can he carry the momentum around the outside? No, he can't. Ben Hicks in the background having a bit of a moment. That's Dan Mould now in the lead. Chaz Draycott in second. Michael Ellett in third. Luis Correa in fourth. Scotty Angelo in fifth. Ben Hicks right the way down into sixth.
Yeah, Ben Hicks, just I think there might have been potentially an amount of contact that happened on the run into Druids. We're going to see exactly what happens between Michael Ellett and the British driver. And yes, there is a little bit of contact. They both, I think it's the SRL driver that just tries to go out wide, use the circuits available, and now the SRL driver is going to get a sight set on Chaz, but Chaz is looking down the inside. Oh, I was worried there's going to be contact, but actually Dan Mould gets a little bit too much over the curb. That's hampered his line, and now all of the cars are fighting right behind him, trying to find their way around. Down the inside, there's going to be Michael Ellett on Chaz Draycott, but is Chaz Draycott going to go around the outside? He's going to go around the outside of all three of them, but oh, he loses the rear of the car, holds it nicely, but that was a scary moment for Chaz Draycott. I can assure you that was a code brown if ever there was one. He's down in 3rd place now, just through the space of, well, a few corners, and now he's going to have to set his sights on getting around it. Oh my word, he's done it around the outside into show corner. Literally the lap before I said you can't be doing that, that's impossible. And he's gone and proved me wrong. I can't believe you've done this, Chaz. I can't believe you.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how Chaz is doing this, but he's definitely doing his job, and he's trying to reverse the situation on Dan Mould. On the outside is Chaz. He might have to just succumb to Dan's advances. However, Chaz has got the overrun. Can he break later? Can he ever? Into the lead, Chaz Draycott. 2 cars in the space of 2 corners. Back into the lead for Chaz Draycott and Sancho Simsport. Dan Mould demoted down into 2nd. He's got his stable mate at SRL, Michael Ellett, following him along. Luis Correa is also catching on to the coattails of this battle. He has the best seat in the house. Don't rule out Scotty Angelo in the background. He'll be able to watch on from the distance. There is Michael Ellett. Luis Correa off the road. Is he in the wall? He's lost his wing mirror. Back onto the track goes Luis Correa. That's freed up Michael Ellett, which might slightly open the floodgates for Dan Mould here, because Mike can just play rear gunner at this point, slow down Luis Correa, make sure he's got no attacks from behind, so Dan Mould could be nice and safe at this point. However, 0.6 of a second now the lead gap between the top 2 as we go on to the final lap of the race. This isn't right. Chaz is at the front.
Yeah, I was about to mention, I don't like this. I really don't like that Chaz is leading the race. Usually we give each other friendly ribbon here on Simracersworld TV, but it seems there's nothing that this man can't do, and it's upsetting me. He's just too good in the comms box. He's too good in the car. He's upsetting me. He's really upsetting me, but now we need to hope against hope that Dan Mould is able to take the fight to Chaz Draycott. He needs to get a good run here through the Shell Oil corner. He gets nice and close, gets on the throttle nice and early, and I think if Dan Mould is up for a chance, he needs to stop doing these half sends. He needs to go full foot to the floor, full pedal to the metal, balls to the walls, as they say. Getting up behind Chaz Draycott. He's closing in, gonna look to the inside. Is he through Knickerbrook? I'm thinking he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it now. Is he going to commit? No, he's not. He has to back out. He's going to try and get the good run, though, through Druids. And if he doesn't do that, he's only got a little while left to go. Chaz Draycott himself, he needs to hold on just a little while longer, and he will be winning this race, but it's ever so close. Dan Mould's going to try and get the good run out of Druids. Is he going to be there? A little bit of a bump. I think that's compromised his run. So Chaz Draycott, he's going defensive. He's holding the inside line, not letting Dan Mould go on the attack, but that's going to compromise his line out over the corner, and I think he's been able to park it on the apex, so it will be Chaz Draycott as he comes over Deer Leap. He will be leading the race, but it's going to be close. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Dan Mould, oh, he's not quite been able to do it, and Chaz Draycott wins the race here at Oulton Park. A great race. I don't want to admit it, but he was admittedly the class of the field today, and I'm certain that with a heavy heart, you'll probably have to agree with me there, Jack.
Yeah, that was a monster of a race. I'm just messaging Chaz in his Discord. Apparently, his crew chief, he's using the crew chief app, was saying car left, car left, car left throughout that entire final lap. Somehow he stays in front and does take the win. We've still got a couple of cars coming towards the line. Kalle Kavisto will cross the line to take 14th place. Dave Geddes to take 15th. Seb Hayne in 16th. Sven Dalemans revving to the red line through the final couple of corners around Deer Leap and towards the line to finish 17th. Then it will be Victor Oliveira, Amanullah Bacchus, Rob Jackson, Mackenzie Mann, Arturo de Villa, Henrico Puttenstein and Xavi Lopez, I think, will be the last car to finish on the lead lap. But Chaz Draycott won that race by half a tenth. 0.05 of a second. Chaz Draycott managed to take top honours in that race. So Sancho Simsport and all their sponsors, they will be very, very happy.
Well, I think this was Chaz Draycott's first ever race. He's usually in the comms block. This is his first race in the Sunday Drivers' Championship, so he's got 100% win rate. I think this is the perfect time to stop racing in this series, because once you've got that 100%, don't risk it anymore.
Yeah, he said he was confident coming into this, and he was speaking to Michael Ellett before the race, and he definitely got a few little words of wisdom, and it paid off. and I think we will have some results available for you. We do indeed. Chaz Draycott, ladies and gentlemen, the number 10 Zancho Sim Sport machine, wins the race. The Invitational driver wins the final round of the season by 500ths of a second, so very little between the pair of them. Hounded to the line by Dan Mould, who will take some good points away from this round. His teammate Michael Ellett rounds out the podium for Simulation Racing Leagues. Luis Correa, after winning the championship last time out, finishes in a very respectable P4. Ben Hicks dropping back to P5 at the end of the race. Scott Angelo finishes in 6th. Bram Class in 7th. Martin Pereiro and Pedro Mariamon, Flying Paellas Racing teammates, finish 8th and 9th. Jordanin Svetanov rounds out your top 10. Then it's Sander Ware, Matt Tempest, Peter van der Noord, Kalle Kavisto in 14th. Dave Geddes is 15th. 16th was Seb Hayne. Sven Delment in 17th. And 18th was Victor Oliveira. We'll go down another couple of rows, and then it's Amanullah Bacchus, Rob Jackson, Mackenzie Mann, Arturo de Villa rounds out your top 22, Henrico Puttenstein in 23rd, 24th was Xavi Lopez, Timo Paya, Alvaro Rodriguez, Roberto Garcia and Rene Ware round out your runners for this evening. Chaz Draycott more than happy with his finish. I'm sure he's sat there waiting for the smoke to dissipate, and there will be many a photo on his social media this evening showing off that beautiful livery on that Mazda. And I think we might have a few drivers waiting for an interview. We do indeed. Michael Ellett, welcome to the commentary box. Well done on P3, mate. So you and your teammate on the podium tonight. What separated you from the rest? That was a very busy race.
Yeah, no, that was thanks, Jack. Yeah, glad to end the season with the podium, and quite happy for our guest driver as well. It was quite an intense one.
Yeah, it looks like you definitely, you and your teammate gave him something to think about, and Chaz obviously just rocking up to the championship. He had a few words of wisdom beforehand from yourself, and it clearly paid off because top of the pile tonight. And we saw the original pole sitter, who was it at the time, Roberto Garcia, fall back, and I think he retired in the end. So it just shows that qualifying, although it does massively help your race, do you feel like no matter what happens, there's always room for that little mistake and it can just put you out the race completely?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, Jack. You know, one small mistake is literally going to cost you 10 places. So yeah, the key is to try and stay out of trouble and at the same time try and stay consistent. But yeah, it was a really good race too.
It was great to watch, and we really enjoyed watching it from up here in the commentary box. And this is rounding out the season now, so I can't really ask you what you think about going into the next round, because that's it. If you could sum up the season in a few words, how would you do it?
Yeah, no, look, I think it was a good season overall. I think it puts me in a good position for coming into 2021. I think the main aim there is definitely going to be to go for the championship. But overall, yeah, good championship, good friendships made, and a great bunch of guys as well that race in the Sunday Drivers' Cup. So again, a massive thank you to Sunder. So yeah, overall, great season.
Great stuff. Well, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box for the final round of the season, and we do hope to see you next season. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank or shout out while you're live on Simracersworld TV for the final time this season?
Yeah, just a massive shout out to Sunder, great championship, great league, and then a big shout out to Chaz as well, and obviously Dan, good race tonight, and then just to my folks who have stayed up. It's quite late here in South Africa, and then also to my beautiful girlfriend who allows me to play these games. So yeah, that's it.
Great stuff. Thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. Well done on P3 tonight, and we'll hopefully see you next season.
Great stuff. Thanks, Jack.
That was Michael Ellett there, and certainly fair we go through our podium. Ed, how about you take Dan Mould?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, Dan, nice to have you here in the booth with us. What a race that was. It looked like you had the measure of Chaz for moments, but you just weren't able to get that finishing touch, and I think you might be a little bit upset for second place, but looking on balance of the race, you can be very proud of the job you did there today.
Yeah, I'm happy. Just been speaking to Chaz, I think I was a little bit too respectful to Chaz there, because he'd admitted he wasn't to me. So no, it was a good race. I really enjoyed that. think I let him pass a little bit too easy on the first overtake, but I got him back with a sweet little move, and then he got me back on. Was it the fast right hand he got me back on? I think. But yeah, oh, brilliant racing. You know, really enjoyed it. Gutted for excuse me, Roberto. Put that epic lap time in on his qualified, and then lost it on the first corner. It was unfortunate to see, but pleasing to see at the same time.
Yeah, we did see that it was just seemingly the cold tyres that caught him out. But
yeah,
like I mean, one man's misfortune is another man's gain, and you were there just to capitalise really at that point. And we did see at one stage you had some pressure from Ben Hicks behind. How was it like being sort of the middle car of a three-way fight for the lead of the race? Because I can testify that it's not the most fun, but I want to know your sort of your point of view on it, because it looked really intense in the car.
It is really intense. Obviously, you're checking the guy in front. You don't want to lose his slip, and obviously you're checking your modes at the same time. But thankfully, you know, I've known Ben for a while now. I know he's got an amazing racecraft. He's clean, so you know, loads of trust in Ben, and I knew he'd do the right thing. So I wasn't overly concerned seeing it was him behind me.
But you were concerned about Chaz.
Yeah, I was very concerned about Chaz. Yeah, I do. Yeah, especially some of those. We went side by side a few times. I think it was full speed going up. Is it Druids? I think is it up through to Druids. I'm not sure. I don't know the corner names, but the double right-hander through the forest bit. Oh my life, Jesus Christ! I use VR. And I've got sweat pouring in my eyes in VR, and there's no way of wiping it away. But yeah, brilliant. That's what I do it for. That's why I buy all this gear and I race. It's just things like that. It's brilliant.
It was brilliant to watch, Dan. And what scared me more was actually when you were going side by side through Island Bend, going into the run.
Oh yes, yeah.
There was side by side, I think, a couple of times, and I was thinking, oh, they're not going to do it again. And then you did it again. You two were absolutely class of the field and put on a brilliant performance. And I'm certain you probably earned yourself a few fans. And if there are any fans in the comments, I'm sure you might have some good words, because I'm going to let you shout out whoever you want to here.
Anyone who's watching, Sander putting on this show, it's a great little league to be in. Everyone's you know, so welcoming. It's a good little group. I think I joined about mid-quarter of the way through. I'm looking forward to next season. I really am. So yeah, everybody who's involved, you guys, and then obviously Chaz tonight for putting on that race with me. It's nice to go to bed on a Sunday night, day before work, hyped. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Dan. You put on a great race for us, and we'll be wishing you all the best. If we do this again, well, we'll certainly be hoping to see you out on the grid. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.
That was Dan Mould there, second place finisher for Simulation Racing Leagues. And, well, Chaz, I'm assuming you're on the mic. Can you put whoever was driving on the mic, please? Because that can't have been you. You don't know. It's not funny. That wasn't you. You didn't drive that.
I'd love to tell you that I didn't, and just for the sake of it, I got Beth to have a go. But honestly, I've already said it to Dan himself, but I want to sort of out loud say this, that Dan should have won that race, really, because the attacking that Dan was doing was phenomenal, and he was so respectful all the time. And I mean, you probably caught at least one of the 28 million different occasions where we got to Knickerbrook side by side, and he'd be the one to back out. And he was amazing. There was a few times where I moved over on him a bit, admittedly, and I probably shouldn't have squeezed him based on the nature of this circuit and how it moves. But it's racing, and I loved every second of that. That was phenomenal, really phenomenal.
It was great to watch, and obviously it was helped by that Sancho SimSport livery. Obviously that made you go quicker, with it being so good looking. I know you are a fan of the spec map, and that shows iRacing spec map availability off beautifully. Just as we're going through your interview, we've got slow-mos in the background, and we're just showing you run wide through Knickerbrook, and then Dan Mould think, oh, I'll have you here, and then you move over, and Dan's like, okay, maybe not. It's proper door-to-door racing. It was like watching touring cars, and because these Mazdas are so small, you could get away with 2-3 wide at some points. So it was really good. And out of all of the rounds this season, was it a mixture of things, just because it's the end of the season, you can get in, or was it's Oulton Park, this is my circuit, I'm going for it?
Well, Sander and I speak a lot, and I made a jest during a broadcast that, I'd love to have a go at this. I reckon it's well good fun. And he messaged me afterwards saying, oh, if you want, you can jump in. You can do a race. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. So I said, well, where's the last round? If the championship's decided before the last round, we'll do that. And he said, Oulton Park. And I was like, right, I don't care if the championship's decided. I'm gonna join in because it's my local and I love the place. And I think a bit of experience around there helped tonight, especially through Cascades. There's two bumps at Cascades, and suddenly the grip comes to you halfway around the corner. I think I had that little bit of an edge over Dan down there, but my God, Dan Mole, take your hat off, mate. He was a hero in that race. Really was. It was great battling. Best race I've ever had on any sim, easily.
Yeah, it really is a true sportsman. It was amazing to watch. I'm sure you'll be watching this back as well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only fair. Ed, you got any questions for our race winner?
How on earth were you able to make it side by side through Island Bend there? There was 2 times in that race where I was worried that there was going to be contact. In fact, no, there was about 10 times I was worried there was going to be contact that would have ended in someone's races. But 2 of the biggest ones were when I saw you and Daniel going side by side through Island Bend. And again, how on earth did you send it around the outside through Charlotte Oil's corner? How did you do that? What have you been eating for breakfast?
To be honest, I thought he'd backed out because he'd been so respectful through the rest of the battle. I thought he'd backed out of that. So I heard his revs drop next to me, and I just looked on my triples and I saw the tiny little white corner of his car, and I was like, oh God. So I just came off the lock a bit and then just smacked it back in, and somehow we stayed on. But there were so many side-by-side moments there. It was just amazing. Really was. And like I say, Dan was so respectful, and for it to be for the race lead as well. I mean, I've not won a league race in 5 years, and I've only ever done that once. I've said that a million times. Now, people on my stream probably just thinking, oh God, listen to this lad repeat himself. I'm a commentator, get over it. But that's just, yeah, I don't really have many words other than thank you to the boys at Zan Show for having me. And thank you to Sander and everyone in the league because, wow, what a league they've got. It's brilliant. Great fun.
Just to follow up there, Ed. Chaz, obviously this is, like you say, your first league race in a number of years now. You've got the pace, you've got the knowledge, and you've got the respect with the other drivers, and they've got the respect for you. There's another season next year, maybe?
I was thinking it, but Sander said he'd rather me as a broadcaster than a driver, so I'm not taking points off people. But no, I said the points bit. But to be honest, I would. I'd love to race in this series next season, hands down. Absolutely, hands down, this would be the series I would do based on that. The racing I've just had with Dan alone there would, yeah, happily. Sander said I'm welcome anytime. I don't want to be doing the full season, I don't think, but I don't know. I would and I wouldn't. I don't know. I think I probably would, given the chance.
Well, all will be decided next year. You know the drill. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out while you're in the commentary box?
Of course, Zan Show, the boys there. Mike Yao at Simply Race for getting me in. Silverstone Composites for their sponsorship of the team as well. And obviously, Simply Race also sponsor the team. Everybody else at Zan Show that's helped me. Ed as well, who helps run the team. All the people in my YouTube, I'm not streaming on YouTube, in my Twitch chat. Everyone that's watching the broadcast as well, hello. And all the guys in the Chaz Draycott Media Discord as well, because I know they've been streaming it and watching together, and my brother and Niall and all of the boring cars lot. Oh, and Bosco.
And the dog. You got to get the dog in there.
Bosco dog.
Great stuff. Well done on your win. That's all I'm saying. I'm not jealous at all. So well done on
you
your
won't
win.
hear the end of it for a month.
No, no, it will be next season. Oh, by the way, yeah. Do you remember when I won this race? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. Quite a unique experience, and let's hope it comes around more often next year. But well done tonight, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Cheers, boys.
Well, that was weird. Dragging Chaz Draycott out of the commentary box. That is a very surreal feeling, but a worthy winner tonight. Definitely hard fought, and like you said, got massive respect for Dan Mould. Both drivers gave each other ample room 99% of the time. A bit of argy-bargy, but that's just the nature of racing, isn't it?
Yeah, massive respect. And as you mentioned, too much respect was being given between the two drivers there. It was a brilliant race, though, wasn't it? From start to finish, there was action here, there, and everywhere. And, well, Chaz Draycott, how... I still cannot believe he did that. It boggles the mind, and I'm going to have to be watching this broadcast. Obviously, I'm mute because I don't want to hear myself nattering on like a lunatic, but oh my word, I've been loving this. And if Chaz is racing next season, I'm going to be taking his place because this was amazing.
It was. This is what we've been treated to every 3 weeks in the Sunday Drivers MX-5 series, sponsored by H20 Esports, of course. So thank you very much to those guys, and Ed, let's hope that we get to work together in the future here on Simracersworld TV and on the Sunday Drivers MX-5 series. But I'm afraid it's that point in the night where we do have to say goodbye, and not just for the night, for the season as well. 15 rounds of racing has taken place on the Sunday Drivers MX-5 series, of which I think 8, maybe 9 of which were streamed on the Simracersworld TV YouTube channel, Twitch, and the Sunday Drivers Facebook. So thank you very much if you've been watching along and you've supported the drivers. Thank you very much for H20 Esports for the sponsorship, and everybody else behind the scenes, Sanderware, Reneware, everybody that's put in the extra little bits of work to make the series what it is. It really does work for us. And Ed, before we head off, any final closing statements from yourself?
No real closing statements other than it was brilliant to be a part of, and I hope we can do this all same time next season, because, well, I've been watching some of the broadcasts you guys have been putting on, you and Chaz, and it's been an amazing championship, thrills, spills, plenty of last moment drama. It'd be nice to see if maybe the championship could go down right to the last round of the race. Maybe if Chaz is there, we might be seeing him crowned champion, and I don't know if I'd like to announce Chaz Draycott as champion of anything, so that's something maybe to look forward to with a bit of dread for next season, Jack.
Well, let's hope there is more in store next season and next year, of course. Well, thank you very much for putting up with me, Ed, mate, for just over an hour and a half. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody watching along. Everybody's taken part. Well done to all the drivers. And let's hope we see you all next season. But other than that, thank you very much for watching along. I've been Jack Werrell, alongside me, Ed May, this evening. You've been watching on Simracersworld TV. We'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.